Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to our webinar on strategic antibody outsourcing. I'm Nigel Stapleton, I'm Vice President for Business Development at Mabion, and today I will be guiding you through our session. The biopharmaceutical industry is evolving rapidly, and choosing the right CDMO has never been more critical. However, with so many options out there, it can sometimes feel a bit like successfully navigating the Goldilocks paradox. Too many options can overwhelm, and too few options can limit your choices. So today, we're going to help you find the CDMO that is just right for your biologics development and manufacturing project. We'll be covering several key topics today, from the initial decision to outsource to optimizing your RFP and evaluating the CDMO responses. We'll be talking about how you can ensure that the CDMO that you choose has the perfect facility fit for your biologic project's needs. We'll be talking about how you can build a successful and collaborative partnership with CDMO, and we'll be talking about how you can leverage your CDMO's unique expertise and knowledge as a strategic consultant. With me today are 5 experts from Mabion, each specialized in a different facet of biologics manufacturing and development. So let me pass the microphone to our esteemed panelists so they can introduce themselves. Łukasz, would you mind going first?
Of course, thank you very much, Nigel. Welcome everyone, my name is Łukasz Waszak. I'm a director of the Quality Assurance Department with over a decade of experience in supervising the manufacturing processes to meet the highest quality and regulatory standards.
My name is Anna Małecka. I'm Regulatory and Scientific Affairs Division Manager. My experience spans over 14 years, during which I navigated regulatory requirements at all phases of drug development, from phase 1 all the way up to commercialization.
Hi, my name is Marta Bednarek. I'm the Director of Manufacturing Department, responsible for DS and DP production. I have been working in Mabion for 14 years as a forefront of production processes for 9. And before that, I was involved in drug development processes, analytical method development and validation, as well as framing a microbial monitoring and control program.
Hi, my name is Edyta Bartosik-Czubek. I lead Mabion's R&D department. My expertise is in analytical development and process development, particularly for novel products at the early stage of development, but I have also experience in tech transfer, scale-up, and process characterization for later stages of biological product development.
Hi everyone, my name is Adam Pieduszkiewicz. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer at Mabion. Since joining the company 4 years ago, I've been responsible for heading our business development efforts and also responsible for the key relationships with our main customers.
Great, thank you very much. So let's dive into our first topic, selecting the right CDMO and ensuring that the CDMO has a perfect facility fit for your project. Edyta, given your experience, can you explain how Mabion ensures a proper fit for each project's unique requirements?
Of course, at Mabion, we understand that no two projects are alike. That's why we prioritize flexibility during our facility process design. Our facility is equipped to handle with different product types and different scales. For example, we use the same brand of equipment in our small-scale activities as is used during manufacturing process.
Yeah.
Our view at Mabion is that each project should start from understanding the molecule, the process, and most importantly, the client's requirements. All technical aspects that have to be optimized starts from this first critical point. If we develop the process or analytical panel from scratch, we have more flexibility to select the most natural solutions for our facility. But if we transfer already developed process, we have to remember that facility fit stage is more complex. Assuming that we have the same devices that were used during development of the process or analytical method, the tech transfer is quite straightforward. But this is rather seldom, and more cases require some development and solution-based thinking, which we are completely accustomed to. Our knowledge and flexibility of our facility allows us to find the right solution. The right solution at the end means that we are able to meet timelines and quality requirements of regulatory agencies and our clients.
We also put a strong emphasis on environmental control. Our air handling systems and cleaning program are designed to maintain stringent conditions required for biologics production, and those are temperature, humidity, microbial particles controls. That ensures that we meet GMP standards, which is crucial for both early stages and commercial manufacturing. Additionally, our manufacturing is based on single-use technologies, and that minimizes contamination risk and reduces time needed for turnaround between production runs.
Thank you, Edita and Marta. That's a great overview. It's clear that a facility fit is about more than just space. It's about ensuring that the CDMO's infrastructure can support your project's current and future needs.
Nigel, but let's not forget about some of the soft aspects as well. Such things as the geographic location of the CDMO versus the client can be an element that influences the overall success of the project. And having a CDMO close to or in a similar time zone allows for quick and easy communication, and also having the ability to visit the CDMO site by the client also adds for a better communication and improved performance of the overall project. So there are other aspects in addition to the more technical aspects for choosing the right partner.
That's right, Adam. If I might, I would like to add one more thing regarding localization, and it's the safety of your IP, because recent development have shown that certain regions have a problem with that, and as a consequence, the Biosecure Act have to be drafted to address this particular issue.
Excellent points. However, the final measure of any CDMO should be its ability to confidently deliver a project within the agreed time for a fair price. So look for a CDMO that has an ingrained quality culture, a high level of technical expertise, that builds a relationship based on trust and openness, and finally, not unimportant, a transparent and fair pricing structure. Moving on to our next topic, let's talk about what makes a CDMO partnership successful. It's not just about technical capabilities, but it's about strategies and approaches to building a confident relationship. Anna, considering your expertise, can you tell us what are the key elements that build a successful CDMO partnership?
Well, I think that a successful partnership must be built on trust, transparency, and most of all on the shared goals. So the first step we take at Mabion is to ensure that we have a clear understanding of the client's goals. And this is as early as at the RFP stage, when we already organize technical discussions to make sure that our capabilities match the client's objectives, as well as obviously timelines. And this is even more critical at later stages after signing the agreement, where the regular communication is crucial. And therefore, we organize frequent meetings where we update on project progress. We can solve some challenges and also respond to and make some adjustments to the project plans. And this is also really critical from the perspective of finding risks for the projects and finding ways to mitigate them.
Yes, for example, we work with a client on complex bispecific project where regulatory landscape was continuously evolving. By maintaining open communication and being transparent about challenges that we face, we were able to adjust our approach to meet client requirements connected with timelines and without compromising on quality. This kind of open and collaborative relationship is what makes a partnership successful.
Mm-hmm. And I would like to add that a key factor in successful partnership is a flexibility of CDMO. We understand that the project can change rapidly, especially in the dynamic fields of biologics. And we develop this operational model which help us to scale up quickly, to adjust timelines and pivot to different manufacturing processes if required. This flexibility has been crucial in several of our projects, and especially in cases where a client needed to accelerate their project to meet market demands.
And one more aspect, which is also sometimes overlooked, is the cultural fit between the two parties, and making sure that both the CDMO and the client share the same values is crucial for the success of the project. At Mabion, we pride ourselves for having a client-focused organization, making sure that the client always comes as the most important element for the success.
So, let's turn our attention now to the process of optimizing your RFP and evaluating CDMO pricing. Over the years, I've seen quite a few RFPs come by, some very elaborate and detailed, and some a bit more lean. Edita, based on your extensive experience, can you explain how a client can optimally set up their RFP so that they get the right proposals out of it and can attract the right CDMO partners that way?
Sure, Nigel. RFP is critical because it starts the entire relationship. The key to compelling RFP is that it is clear and fit for purpose. It is important to describe project scope, including technical issues, timelines, and regulatory consideration. It is also worth to mention about must-haves, especially connected with technical aspects, but also to mention about places where we have a little bit more flexibility. This helps CDMO understand what exactly do you need and prepare proposal tailored to your project.
And for example, if you're working on a monoclonal antibody RFP, it is important not only to mention your immediate production needs, but also a wider context, so potential scale-up plans and regulatory context. So, for example, your market expansion plans, or just the region where the clinical trials would be conducted. And this is really important to help us allocate appropriate resources and create adequate timelines, which impact the pricing in the end.
Yeah, and when comparing pricing and various offers, it's also important to look beyond just the price, but more at the value that the CDMO can bring. Picking the right CDMO partner has a tremendous element of either making a project a success or not, which may or may not be reflected in the price. We at Mabion make sure to have our pricing be very transparent. We break down our offers, our proposals in such a detail to make sure that the client understands what they're investing in, which part of the project is priced at what level. Such transparency, we believe, drives a very good partnership, and also eliminates the risk of having unpleasant surprises later on in the process, as it often happens that the initial request for proposal is different than the actual project itself, as both parties learn along the way of some variations that come out of the project during the execution phase.
Actually, that's exactly right, Adam, because when choosing the CDMO, you need to check the long-term implication of your choice. Some CDMOs that offer initial lower price might not have resources for the long-term cooperation and managing your project. As we are a highly regulated industry, the experience of the company should be reflected in the manufacturing and importation authorization for the company. In case of Mabion, our experience for both investigational medicinal product and commercially available products is exactly reflected in our manufacturing and import authorization. So we can support each of the process from the early development through the clinical production and commercialization. And this facility was exactly constructed for this purpose. On the top of that, we have already plans for expansion and second facility that was already drafted. And this facility can support the commercialization of the product. If the product will reach global success, we can also meet the requirement for production for global market.
And lastly, please do not forget about the intangible benefits of CDMO cooperation. For example, our regulatory experience with multiple regulatory agencies across the world can help the clients navigate the complexities of regulatory approval processes, which in turn can help them reduce the costs or some surprises regarding the timelines later on. And I believe this kind of value added is sometimes more important than some direct costs.
Good. Right, let's take a moment to chat about an important aspect of biopharmaceutical development, balancing your internal capacity with external resources. In today's rapidly evolving industry, it's very important to decide when it's better to keep a process in-house or when to outsource it to a CDMO. This decision can have a big impact on your timeline and your costs, and finally on the final success of your project. I'd like to explore this topic with Łukasz. Łukasz has extensive experience in helping clients guide the strategic decision-making process. Łukasz, in your opinion, what are the key elements that a client should consider when they're making the decision whether to keep a process in-house, whether to outsource it, or maybe to find a mix between the two?
Thank you, Nigel. That actually is an excellent point. The strategy between balancing internal and external resources is a key factor, and things that you need to consider first of all is capacity. For the small and medium-sized biotech, it doesn't make sense to invest large monies for starting the facility, biotech facility especially. Initial cost is one factor. Second factor is maintaining the facility to fulfill current GMP requirements. And for that, CDMO is a perfect choice, because we can spread the cost of maintenance for multiple projects, and this how the CDMO is handling this part of the project. And even for large biotech companies, it makes a lot of sense to use the CDMO. Demand on the market for the products can change, and using the flexible approach with the CDMO can help to meet a demand on the specific part of the time. The second point is project complexity. A lot of the companies that are specialized in small molecules see the growing market for biologicals and wanted to enter this part of industry. Unfortunately, the large molecules, biologicals, are significantly more complex, and even developing the analytical methods for the biologicals can be more complex than the whole small molecule project. And because of that, you need to have experience, knowledge, even equipment specialized for bioassays, for example. And this is only one part of such kind of the project. So for that, especially, my suggestion is to go with someone with expert and experience in this matter. And our company have more than 200 people that have gained this experience for less than 10 years. And we can support the projects from early beginning to the final control for commercial project. The third part, I think that I have already mentioned it at the beginning, it's moving between different phases of the project. So from development to the clinical to the commercial part. Each of this part of the project is completely different, and you need to have the experts in each of the fields. And the best way to approach the transition between different phases of the project is to have the experts on site that will cooperate and support each other during the tech transfer procedure, because you need to transfer the process firstly from the development part to the actual production for the technical batches, for the clinical batches, and the personnel that have developed process characterization, that have developed analytical method, can support this process, can easily solve the problems that might occur during the first technical runs, and can help to transition the product smoothly from development to the clinical phase and even further to the commercial phase. Having the CDMO that have experience in each of the fields help and actually is, in my opinion, critical factor to commercialize quickly your project.
As we have just heard, a CDMO should offer much more than just manufacturing space. There should be a strategic partner that offers insights and guidance that will positively affect the success of your project. Marta, Edita, can you please explain how Mabion functions as a strategic consultant to our clients?
Absolutely, Nigel. We view ourselves as an extension of our clients' teams. This means we are involved in the project from the very beginning, at the very earlier stages, and offering our expertise to improve the overall CMC strategy. In one practical example of that, in one of our recent projects, we identified bottlenecks of our client supply chain, and we recommended alternative suppliers and strategic solution. This helps our client to avoid the delays and ensure that their product reach the market on time. And sometimes it is a practical as this, and sometimes it's more bespoke and cover, for example, regulatory or quality aspects as well.
We also assist our clients in making crucial decisions during process development. Using our deep knowledge and experience, we can suggest some solutions that can increase efficiency and reduce cost of the project. By developing cell culture conditions in one project, we were able to increase yield, which significantly influences on the project profitability.
And another area where we can provide some strategic consulting stems, as already I mentioned, from our regulatory department. So as you all may be aware, the regulatory landscape for biologics is quite complex and challenging, and there might be multiple obstacles. Therefore, we try to mitigate risks for the clients as soon as we identify them. And this is a kind of value added when teaming up with Mabion. Yeah.
Yeah, the strategic consulting role is something we take very seriously here at Mabion. Our success can only happen if our client is successful. So in fact, this is what we strive. We want to make sure to help our client in any element or any step of the way in the project development, production, and all the way to the market.
After all these interesting discussions, we hope that our listeners have a bit more of an idea of how to choose the right CDMO. What it eventually boils down to is how to choose a CDMO that will eventually make sure that your project is successful. After all, once you've chosen a CDMO and you're working with it, it's not easy and definitely not cheap to switch to another CDMO in the event that you're not happy.
Perhaps in this case, the best predictor of future results are, in fact, past achievements. And here our track record speaks for itself. Our batch manufacturing success rate since we've become a CDMO is 100%. And furthermore, we met timelines, agreed timelines and deliverables for all development projects we have worked on. And those particular KPIs have always been crucial and fundamental in achieving our clients' high success rates.
But speaking for ourselves may not be enough. In fact, checking for references is an important step in choosing the right CDMO partner. And having the ability to speak directly to a client or a company who worked with a CDMO in the past and how that relationship evolved can be extremely telling. I encourage all of our listeners to make sure and check references before making that final decision. And of course, I encourage anybody thinking about working with us to call on our past clients and having such discussions.
As we come to the end of our session, I'd like to thank you all for participating, and I'd especially like to thank our panelists for their valuable insights. We've covered a wide range of topics today, from selecting your CDMO and setting up your RFP, to ensuring that your CDMO partnership is a success and how you can leverage your CDMO's unique expertise and experience as a strategic consultant. I hope you found the discussion as engaging and as valuable as I did. Remember, the right CDMO can make all the difference to the success of your biological project, not just by supplying manufacturing needs, but also by being a strategic partner that can help guide your success through clinical and commercial phases to success. If you have any more questions about how Mabion can be your strategic CDMO, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. But before we go, let's take a couple of questions that have just been coming in. I'm just going to throw them out to our panelists, and anybody who feels like chipping in, please do. So the first question that I'm seeing coming in is, when I'm developing a biologic, when is the optimal time to start selecting a CDMO? Anybody want to say anything about this?
So Nigel, I think because it's such an important decision for the success of your project, of a project, the sooner that a company reaches out to potential CDMOs, the greater the overall success of the project. And in fact, should this be a project for which a company is seeking out a CDMO for the first time, it even is more important to start this process earlier. Companies which have worked with CDMOs in the past may already have some ideas and have some past experience that they could work off of. But a first step into the CDMO world can be daunting and can require some extra time. So the sooner the better. That's the answer. Thank you.
Having seen quite a few clients over the years, what you see quite a bit is that a client in the very early stage reaches out to a CDMO for a ballpark proposal to give them some idea how much money they need to allocate, how they need to discuss with their investors, the financial support for the CMC part of their clinical studies. This is an important moment to reach out to your CDMOs to engage. It's also important to, at that point, inform your CDMO that you're asking for a ballpark. A little bit later on, when you've got your project a little bit more defined, you re-engage that CDMO or those CDMOs that you've spoken to, and you can define the project a little bit more exact at that point. And that way you can already start with that item that we've discussed so often this morning, that partnership that you can build with that CDMO, build on openness and trust. And that way you can ensure that once you are ready to start the active work with your, the practical work with your CDMO, it will be successful. Great. Another question just came in. Thank you very much for that. Right, so I heard your presentation. I like this question. Could you please give me a short answer why I should choose Mabion as my CDMO? Who wants to chip in on that one?
Okay, I may have one or two good reasons why. First is one that I mentioned before, R&D and manufacturing equipment match. And we use the same brand, and that makes the scale up and process transfer easier and efficient. The second is the facility design. I would say that flexibility we have within our facility makes us make possible to handle different kind of processes and scales, type of products, and so on. So that's a good advantage.
What you mentioned before, Marta, I think is a very important point. The best predictor of future performance is past success. We have a 100% back success rate since we transitioned to being a CDMO, and so far with every development project, we've met the agreed timelines. I think that in itself speaks very strongly for us.
Yeah.
We should also add here the partnership, because we discussed about the relations, and for sure we can ensure that during your project we will be your partner.
And maybe lastly, a small thing which may be a game changer, in fact, the location of Mabion. So we're based in Poland, based in the EU, so all the regulatory aspects are well ensured. And also from a pricing perspective, our pricing is transparent, and I think we can be very competitive compared to some other regions in the world.
Not an important point. Thank you very much. I can see another question coming in. Let's see. What bioreactor do you have in-house, and how do you address a process which was developed on a different bioreactor technology? Marta, that sounds really like something for you.
Okay, I will start with this one. We have various technologies in-house, but our main technology is Cytiva's standard steered single-use bioreactors. And they ranges from very, very small scale to up to 2,000 liters. For the development part, maybe Edita will jump in and help me a little bit to explain our approach here.
Of course, we have experience in developing and transferring processes into sterile tank bioreactors. However, if we have to change something, for example, brand of equipment or type of equipment, we have dedicated software that we use for recalculation of key process parameters. We have experience that it works very well, and we are able to conduct the process transfer smoothly.
I'm getting another question coming in. Can we say something about our experience with various different regulatory agencies? Anna, can you say something about that?
Yes, sure. It's a good question. Thank you very much for that. As we are located in Poland, so we are subject to requirements of the European Union regarding both GMP and more thoroughly saying regulatory requirements for marketing authorization. But what we found from the RFPs and from the conversations with our clients and from our knowledge of the global biologics market, it looks like the majority of biologics are developed for both European and US market, and therefore we put a lot of emphasis on our compliance with both EU GMP, but also the FDA CFR requirements and guidelines.
I can also add that with this multiple years of the GMP production, we were subjected to multiple GMP audits from our customers, and this regulatory compliance was also confirmed by companies all over the world, US-based, EU-based, and outside of those markets even. So we were multiple times audited, and our customers always confirmed that our regulatory standards is in line with the current requirements.
Because just jumping into that, you mentioned US and EU based. Didn't we just successfully complete a audit from a Southeast Asian company, if I'm not mistaken, over the last couple of days?
That's right. That's completely right.
Still waiting for the report, but so far the feeling is it went quite well.
Still waiting for the report, but based on that summary, I can tell you already that it went very well, and I'm happy with the result. And actually, potential customer is also happy.
Good. Thank you. I'm seeing another question coming in. This one's very specific, so I'm just going to read it up. Anybody who feels like it, chip in, please. We spoke about leveraging the CDMO as a strategic consultant and of tapping into the expertise of the CDMO. So would, based on this, Mabion be able to propose a specific package of analytics for any molecule, including in-process controls and release testing for drug substance and drug product? Who feels comfortable picking that one up? Rita, go ahead.
So in our portfolio, we have almost ready methods for also your products because they are platform and they only need a small feasibility phase in most cases. So we also mentioned about flexibility and complexity of our facility. It is also connected with analytics because we have the same brand of equipment in our R&D and QC department also. So developed by my department methods can be easily transferred to our QC and used during drug release.
And as we've had many projects like this, we can easily recommend the required analytical panel for both IPC samples testing, the release testing, and stability testing. And to support this, of course, we can provide extensive characterization panel for the molecules, where we would usually advise, as you are the molecule owner, to consult the final panel with your regulatory bodies.
Great points. Thank you very much.
Right, I can see one more question coming in. Considering the time, it's probably going to be our last one. Are we going to be present at CPHI, and is it possible to meet us there? What a great question. We're always very happy to meet you. Yes, we're going to be present at CPHI. We're going to be in Hall 5, booth 98, I believe. And we're going to have a party with some drinks, and we've got a coffee barista at the bar, at the booth. So please come and have a chat with us and come and get a cup of coffee. Also in October, we're going to be present at the Festival of Biologics, which is in Basel. And then in November, we're going to be at the Bio Europe, which is in Stockholm this year. Those are our European events. And Adam, you're gearing up to head for the States, aren't you?
Yes, actually in the next couple hours. But two of our colleagues are already in the US right now for the Biotech Week, which is happening in Boston. So please, if you're in the area, stop on by. And on Thursday, I will be present in New Jersey for the Contract Pharma, which will take place Thursday, Friday this week. So I'm off to the airport.
Great. So unfortunately, we're out of time and we have to wrap it up. I can see more questions coming in. Please keep on sending them. We'll get back to you with those in a written way. So thank you very much for joining us today. We very much appreciate your time. We hope that you gained some valuable insights today. So looking forward to seeing you at one of the upcoming shows and very much looking forward to working with you in the future. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.